Hey everybody, welcome back to Northwest Small Batch Brewing. My name is Steven, and today I want to know, how do you dip tube? Like this or like this? If you're curious about kegging and home brewing and dip tubing, stick around and we'll get a little discussion going, and I'll show you what I do, and I'll explain why I do it. See you on the flip side. Hey everybody, welcome back to the kitchen. So I'm not going to go through the whole how to put your keg together, because it's actually pretty simple. But first of all, when you get your keg, it's a brand new keg, you're going to get this keg, and it says, like mine on it actually has the words, you probably can't see it, but it says out and in. So obviously out is the gas, because gas is coming out. I'm sorry, got that backwards. Out is your beer, right? Liquid is coming out. And in fact, I put a label on here just so that I wouldn't mess it up that says beer. And on the other side says in. Obviously, you're putting the gas in. So on this side, I put a little label that says gas. It does make a difference. The entrance and the exit are different. So don't get them mixed up when you're putting it together. So on the beer, the beer side or the liquid side, normally what you get is this piece, this long metal tube. It's called a dip tube, and it has a little rubber or silicone washer at the top. So normally this dip tube has a little curve in it as well, and that just sits in the main part of your container here. Now you probably can't see it, but the reason there's a curve is it allows it to get right down to the very, very bottom of your keg. Now this works great for sodas and stuff because it pulls from the bottom, and as the liquid goes down, the tube is all the way at the bottom, so you're going to be able to get almost all, every last drop out of this. The problem is it's not so great for beer, because as beer sits and cold crashes, it flocculates, right? All the yeast and any extra grain that you didn't get out, or hop particles, stuff like that is going to flocculate, meaning it's going to come out of solution and fall to the bottom over time and just make a layer on the bottom of your keg of trub, is what we call it, right? So the problem with this system, using this, you can do it, it does work, but if you use the dip tube that comes with your keg, it's going to pull from the bottom. It means that every time you pull a glass of beer from your keg, it's probably going to have some sediment in it. It doesn't hurt you, obviously. I mean, you know what's in your beer, so it's not going to make you sick. But, I mean, nobody wants to get a mouthful of yeast, or whatever, trub. So a really fairly inexpensive fix, and works really well, is you take this tube out, and you can set it aside. I've never used it, so that means that it's been sitting in my closet this whole time. And you can switch it out for what's called a floating dip tube. So it's made of silicone, has a ball on the end. So instead of the metal, right, you have silicone that comes down. Now, how does this thing get put together? It's actually more simple than it looks. So it's just an empty tube. It's actually a hole on the end, so it's empty on both sides. There's nothing else except a little attachment to the floating ball. What happens is you get this little piece as well. This replaces the top here. So just like this floating dip tube has a little rubber stopper, this one also has one. I have it pulled off, but it would go on there in the same place. It's the same size, only it's only a little short stubby part of the top of the original. So you put the washer on there, and you put it on there, right? You stick that in there. Now, the dip tube has to actually fit in here and pop underneath. So that means that once you have this in here, it's kind of a pain. You have to reach your hand in like this and sort of blindly put it on there. So one of the secrets to this is if you put some water in a little container and microwave it to get it nice and hot, stick the end of your silicone tube in the hot water for like, I don't know, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. It softens it up. And now you'll be able to push this on and get it to stick all the way up to almost to the top like so with no problem because you've softened the silicone. Getting it off, not so easy. When you have to pull it off to clean it, I mean, you could fill the whole keg up with hot water and see if it'll like soften it up a little bit. Or like me, you just pull and hope it doesn't break. And if it does, I guess you just buy a new piece of tubing. But the idea here is this is right under here connected. This part of it is going to actually float on top of the beer here. This floats on top of your beer, but it floats like this, right? Let me do it like this. Maybe it'll make more sense. So it floats like this. In fact, usually this will sit almost like this. And so it's pulling the beer from underneath this metal floater ball. So it's actually pulling your beer from just below the surface. And so you're always getting the beer that's at the top of the keg, not the bottom. And so you're going to get the beer that has the least amount of sediment. And if it's been sitting there for a week or two anyway, it's probably going to have like almost no sediment at all in it. And when it hits the bottom, the ball starts to fall, and then you'll actually be able to get pretty much every last drop. You won't want to because then you'll start pulling sediment through here. But the idea is this helps keep you from getting any kind of trube, yeast, sediment that happens to hit the bottom of your keg from filling each one of your glasses of beer. So it makes it a nicer experience instead of using the original dip tube that comes with these. So that's how you use a dip tube. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll try to stick a link to the floating dip tube in the description, but you can really get it from lots of places. I know Amazon has these. I think I got mine from Kegland. Lots of brew stores have them, so you can get them pretty much everywhere. And obviously, I've never had to replace mine, but my guess is that it's probably going to get to that point soon. I mean, you do have to replace them, I'm sure, at some point. But they're not that expensive, worth the effort. That's how you use a floating dip tube to get nice, clear beer out of your keg. All right, well, stick around. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up, the like button, if you will. And come back in a week, pretty much every Monday morning. My time anyway, I put out a new video. So keep an eye out for that. Always, usually I have a full brew video, like a full beer or some sort of brewing video, usually about once a month, which is about as quickly as I can make them and edit them in video and upload them and everything. So we'll see you back here in a week. Until then, if you have a different way of kegging than using a floating dip tube, let me know. I'd love to hear what's going on, what other people are doing, but that's what I've been doing. So keep on brewing, and I'll see you back here in a week. Bye for now.